The nurse asked me over the phone, calm as anything, which of my parents I wanted the doctors to save, and I said, my dad. Obviously, Mom already had a good run, thinking it was a prank my cousin set up. I was 17, sitting in the back of study hall when the front office aide waved me to the phone. I figured it was my mom checking whether I'd remembered my dentist appointment. Instead, a woman I didn't know asked very gently if I understood the situation and had made a decision. I laughed. I genuinely laughed. My cousin Deshawn was always pulling stunts like this, roping in random people, so I leaned into it, said something stupid about how dad was cooler anyway and mom had already lived most of her life. I thought I was being funny. The line went silent. Then the woman said, I'll pass that along to the family, and hung up before I could ask anything else. Weird, I thought, but Deshawn commits to a bit. I went back to study hall. 20 minutes later, my friend Marcus was waiting outside the door and he wouldn't look at me. Dude, what's going on? I said, and he just shook his head and walked off fast. In the hallway, 2 girls from my grade went quiet when they saw me, one of them covering her mouth. I stopped a guy from my team and asked what everyone's problem was. He said, man, I'm not getting in the middle of this, and left me standing there. My phone was dead. I'd been streaming music all morning, so I went to the office to borrow a charger, and the second I walked in, the secretary shot up out of her chair so fast it rolled into the wall. Honey, you shouldn't be here. Someone's coming for you. Coming for me? Why? She went through about 4 expressions before landing on something like fear. Then the phone rang and she grabbed it like a lifeline and turned away, whispering. When she hung up, she gave me a smile that was all wrong and told me to sit. My uncle was on his way. My uncle lives 3 hours out. I asked where my parents were, and my voice cracked on the word where. She wouldn't answer. My uncle walked in 40 minutes later and his face was wrecked, eyes swollen, jaw shaking. He didn't say anything. He just pulled me into the kind of hug you only get at a graveside. In the car, he finally told me there had been a wreck that morning. Right after I left for school, my parents had driven out to grab my little sister's inhaler refill. A truck ran a red and hit them straight on. At the hospital, the ICU waiting room was full of people I knew. Neighbors, my dad's whole coaching crew still in their windbreakers. My uncle walked me to a room where my mom lay unconscious, tubes everywhere, her face so swollen I wouldn't have known her. My knees went. She was making eggs when I left, I kept saying. She was fine. My uncle sat me down and held both my hands and told me the part that's lived in my chest ever since. Both my parents had been critical. Both needed the same emergency transplant to have any chance. And by some cruel accident of biology, the only compatible donor for each of them was the other. Whatever they took to save one, the other wouldn't survive. The hospital's ethics board said the decision had to come from immediate family, and my parents, conscious just long enough to understand, couldn't do it. My dad had said to ask me. He said his kid should choose who got to stay. So a nurse called the school, and I said, Dad, obviously. I said Mom had had a good run. I said it laughing into a phone, thinking it was a joke. They honored the choice. My mother didn't make it out of that room. I have never told anyone that I was laughing when I said it. My father lived. He blames the drunk driver, the truck, the timing. Never me, never once. He doesn't know. My sister doesn't know. I carry it alone, that my mother is gone because I couldn't tell a prank from the worst moment of my life. I'm 24 now. Every year on her birthday, I sit at her grave and tell her I'm sorry, that I would have chosen differently if I'd known she was real. What's the one thing you said as a joke that you can never take back?